Hey, welcome to H7 Bus. This officially marks the return of Conversations on a Broken Couch. We filmed this episode back in October of 2024, so it's a bit of a time capsule, but we had a good chat and plenty of laughs and conversations. So I hope you enjoy. Rubber bands under a sink. Maybe that'll be the name of this episode. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
I was born ready.
Surprising. Out of the womb with a green
Out of the
flag.
womb.
Yeah, actually.
Hi, welcome to H7 Bus. My name is Nathaniel. Oh, that's not how I'm supposed to do this. All right, restart. Okay.
Keep it in. Keep it in.
Keep it in. Hi, welcome to H7 Bus. Hi,
Keep
welcome
all
to
this
H7.
in. It's gonna be hilarious. Sorry, that was bad timing.
It's fine. Hi, welcome to H7 Bus. This is the return episode of Conversations on a Broken Couch, featuring I, Nathaniel Welch, my brother, Scott Welch, and our communal best friend, Brandon Sammons. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll notice that this week, the video of the podcast is also featuring live footage of Brandon playing WoW Classic. So I hope you enjoy that.
Wow,
Guys.
classic hardcore.
Hardcore, yeah. How's your day been? How's everyone's day been?
It's
Go
a
first,
vibe.
Brandon.
It's a vibe. I just got off work, got home, and now I'm chilling, playing WoW. It's one of my favorite things. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a good day, I guess. Got some work done.
Yeah.
Worked out, cleaned the house. Watched I didn't pay attention to it, but had it playing while I was doing stuff throughout the day. A old Counter-Strike series from 2016, DreamHack Masters Malmo NIP versus Astralis group stage elimination match. That was fun. Yeah, it's been a good day. How about you, Scott? How you doing?
I have just gotten through a season of Phineas and Ferb. That is pretty much all I've done since I got off work.
Dude, that is the best kids theme song ever for a
It's
TV
pretty
show.
good.
It's been all that I've been watching the last week. I'll
think
just
we're
turn
allowed
it
to
on while I'm playing games, and it's ugh.
I don't think
It's
we're
so
allowed to
good.
sing it because of copyright stuff. Man, I
Yeah.
know that whole theme song off the top of my head. I would sing
Oh,
it
man.
happily.
It's good. Aren't they making a new
It's
season?
such a good series. Yes, they're making another 30 episodes.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Such a good show.
It's been a few years for sure.
It's been a
I think
decade.
that's the best kind of kids show, the ones that encourage creative thinking and just having fun and being a kid.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Love it.
what's the word? I'm positive that it is the best fictional world out there.
Phineas and Ferb?
Yes. Because
There
it's
are
these kids are making these crazy scientific mind-boggling contraptions, and it's just at the end of the day it's cool, it goes away.
Yeah.
And we move on with our lives. There's no war or fighting. Everybody's friends with each other. Danville is the greatest city ever because everybody just knows each other.
Yeah.
And then
All you needed were
Secret
some
Agent
blueprints,
Animals,
right?
it's the best of
You can build all
everything.
this
It's
stuff.
so cool.
You know
Yeah.
what's also great about the show, one of my favorite aspects, is the fact that these boys are literally local celebrities. Everyone knows them. They've made a pop. They've
Exactly.
made a pop group. They've done
Yeah.
all these insane things, and they're known around the world. But their
Yeah.
parents have no idea somehow.
No idea. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's pretty
just,
great.
it's so good.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. Phineas and Ferb. And I got off work early today, so I'm gonna go
Okay.
in tomorrow to. I split my shift, so I could do 5 hours today, and I could do another 5 tomorrow.
Okay.
That's awesome.
How about you, Nate?
What do you mean? How was my day?
What's next? Yeah.
Oh. So unbeknownst to everyone watching, this is actually probably the first time really in 3-4 months that we've actually all three sat down to really talk to one another again.
Yep.
Yep.
It's we've all been kind of doing our own things and have been pretty busy. So, what has what have y'all been doing the past 4 months?
Well,
What's
I
been
got
happening?
married, so that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
I got married and I moved out of Alaska. I live in Florida now,
Yep.
which is like total 180 degrees, almost literally, um, from Alaska. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like, it's like
Where am I at?
80s every day. I'm wearing shorts
In the winter.
in October, which,
Yeah.
living in Alaska, we kind of stop wearing shorts.
You wear
around, like,
shorts for like 4
September.
weeks. Yeah.
maybe August, because that's when
I
things
mean-
start getting a little chilly.
You're clearly
But-
not psycho enough, because I know people who wear shorts at -40, and I think they need
well,
that's
psychiatric
true.
help.
I knew guys like that too. I remember when I was in
I've
seventh
seen
grade.
Nathaniel walk outside
Um,
in -40 with shorts.
I've for sure done that. I remember when I was in 7th grade, there was this one kid that I went to middle school with named River, and he always wore gym shorts, tennis shoes, and a hoodie. And he
Wow.
obviously had like many varieties and many different colors, but I remember it was probably like January, February, and it was like -60 that year. For just like a week that it was that cold.
Here.
And everyone is driving up like beside the front doors of the school to let their kids out, right? And there's this line of cars and each kid is going and then the other car is driving up and the next kids are going, and I see at the very back of the line stepping out of a car with his backpack, his like drawstring bag, and his gym shorts and his tennis shoes and his hoodie is River. And all these kids are in snow pants and jackets, and they're getting out of their vehicles and they were just running as fast as they can to get inside. And River is just this super chill guy, and he's kind of just walking like
He's got that new
jovially
Doomslayer walking
at
his
just
way.
like a good pace, holding onto his bag.
Oh,
and
no.
Wow.
and in the cold, just normal River, pretending like it's not 60 below outside.
This kid's a
Yeah.
champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just adjusting to Florida life, new job, new stuff.
New life. Got a
new
wife.
life. Got a wife.
Have you met any real Florida men yet?
Seen anyone wrestle a
Probably-
crocodile after drinking paint thinner?
Actually, I haven't.
Alligators.
Alligators.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
gotten
yeah.
close to drinking paint thinner.
Okay.
Okay, I feel like that is a story
I
behind it.
usually come home with like paint thinner like all over my
Oh,
hands.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And no, I haven't seen any alligators. I've only seen 2 snakes, and maybe a handful of actual bugs.
How big
There's
were
just
the
a lot of
snakes?
like. I don't know, like that
Oh.
big. They weren't super big. They were like
That's-
little garden
Were-
snakes or something.
That's sad.
They weren't like
Not
the
very
invasive
exciting.
like boa
Yeah.
constrictors or anything that
No.
are everywhere.
You didn't
No,
have
like-
like a 27-foot rattlesnake outside your door or something.
I don't think
That's
rattlesnakes
terrifying.
are in Florida.
I
I'm
also
just-
don't think they get to 27
They
feet.
they certainly don't, but you just
I think
think of
rattlesnakes are
Florida
more of
and
a
snakes
Southwest.
and you imagine something crazy. So
Well, I don't see any of that here. Just a lot of lizards.
Mm.
Like the little geckos. Those suckers are everywhere, and
Oh,
they eat
dude.
all of the bugs.
have
So there's
any
Oh,
of
that's
them
awesome.
tried to sell you
Nothing.
car insurance?
No, thankfully.
Okay.
What?
Although they look exactly the same. Some of them have gotten in the house, and we've had to take them out. Outside, we didn't actually like, kill them or anything. I kicked one of them, but he was fine.
What do? Do you
Uh,
like get the cup and like put the thing under the cup?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
it's
there's
just
no
like a bug.
reason to kill them. They're
No.
geckos.
I feel like I have no problem stepping on bugs, but I feel like a gecko's too big to do that too.
It's different. It
Yeah,
feels
It'd be
it'd
different.
be
messy.
like stepping on a squirrel. Like it's
when it,
just
when it
not
comes
okay.
to bugs, when it comes to bugs, I'm of the mind where it's like, all right, if you're outside, that's your turf, it's fine. But if you're in my turf, you're free game.
Where it's a war.
But when
yeah.
it's lizards, it's like
they're too
okay,
big.
listen,
They're too
I-
big to do that.
I couldn't
Yeah.
do it. Even
Yeah.
when
It
some of the
just-
bugs I see are
Ugh.
bigger than the lizards, it's like,
Yeah.
Oh
Can't do that.
gosh, you've seen a bug bigger than the lizards?
I mean, they have like bigger spiders here. I
Mhm.
mean, my where
I hate
at work
spiders.
we have a doorway that leads out to our parking lot. It's like a grass lawn.
Mhm.
But up in like the corners and across the ceiling, there
That's
are like
awful.
just these these spiders that are like this big,
That's crazy.
and nobody really cares about them.
Yeah.
They're just
They're
up
just
there
there.
and
You have
they
to get
just
used to 'em.
chill. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We had
I
There's
hate
like
a
two of them
spiders
in the
so much.
bathroom, and we just are like, you stay over there, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
stay over here at this urinal, and we're not gonna have a problem.
yeah.
What happens if the spider encroaches on your turf, though? You have like a
kill
gang
him.
war?
You get that guy.
I don't know the hanger.
If it's at home,
not
at
my
least,
turf.
like we've seen a few and had a few around the house, like a few brown recluses that
Ooh.
we've dealt with, and it's like, man, you just, I mean, it's near the house, so you get rid of it. It's not even
Those ones are
like
extremely
there's
dangerous.
there's plenty of bugs that I'd be like, okay, you can just live your life, I guess, but if it's in the patio or inside the house or in the driveway
needs
and
to
it's
die.
that dangerous, like it's you gone. You don't belong here. We've
I
had
will
so much
say-
like bug spray people come out, and we have dads put this like radish kind of thing around the front door. So at night when we have the outside lights on, all these moths will come and flock to the light, right? And by morning they'll die because of all the stuff that's been in the area. So we have to like twice a week go leaf blow outside the front door because there's dead moths everywhere.
That's awful.
like 20,
witnessed
like
this.
I guarantee you
It's
there's like
crazy.
20 dead moths out there right now. They're
That's
just
awful.
they're just everywhere.
I would hate that so much.
So when I went up to Missouri, I think I saw more bugs. No, I know I saw more bugs just at your guys' house than I have in my entirety of being in Florida.
It's crazy, yeah. It's
just
just
like,
the
wow.
area, like, cause we keep our house obviously super clean, and I don't know that I've seen. I mean, since moving in and getting all the stuff done and getting stuff fixed, like I don't know that I've seen more than 2 bugs inside the house, but outside the house, man, it's
Everywhere.
Missouri is. It's not Alaska, that's for sure.
I saw a
Dude, I
spider.
love
I
it up
saw
here
a
for that reason.
centipede. It
Yeah,
was like, whoa, dude.
yeah.
Oh man. You
Yeah,
know what's great?
snakes.
We don't have a single venomous or poisonous creature up here.
In
Yeah, it's
Alaska,
awesome.
yeah,
Not a single one. Anywhere. It's great.
yeah.
The worst thing you have to worry about is moose. Like
Yeah.
not even the bears, but like
Yeah.
the moose.
It's
They're just
literally
Yeah, but here's-
everywhere.
the cool
thing
thing
is the
about
moose
Alaska is the
will
only
hide.
things you have to worry about are very clearly visible. So what about you, Brandon? What has the past few months looked like for you?
Just work, man. I'm still learning. I started a new position at North Pole Coffee, where I work all the store accounts. So I do like, I go into a store, I look at our stock on the shelf, and I order product, and then fill the shelves, et cetera, deliver and merchandise. Yeah, and that's kept me very busy, and it is a continual learning process. And we are now hitting the busiest time of our year, so I've just been
Yes.
doing that.
You're approaching
That's been my
Christmas.
life.
And then
Dude,
you're
it's
gonna
gonna be a lot
have
of
like
long
3
hours.
months in the summer where you're like, what do I do? So you've just been working a lot.
Yeah, just working, doing my thing, playing games with Carter before he joins the military, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Before he leaves me behind forever.
For
funny.
me, it's been crazy. It's been pretty crazy the past few
Yeah,
months.
you've been
um,
busy, like painting your
Yeah,
house and
it-
doing all sorts of stuff, right?
Dude,
so
you've been,
Scott,
like,
Scott
a
got
legend.
married, right? And then after going back home after his wedding, well, he was going to Florida and making his journey there. For me and the rest of my family, those of us that were moving to Missouri, we had to go in like overdrive mode, pack up the whole house, get everything loaded in a U-Haul, and then you got to drive. And so it was kind of funny waking up Well, first, there was so much to be done, and I think we all kind of wished we had another day because we got it all done, got everything packed, and I was over at the church, like, getting everything last minute that I could get done to, you know, set up people who would be taking my job and all that kind of stuff. Um, and by the time everyone finally made it to sleep on the night before we were gonna, you know, start the drive through Canada to Missouri, we slept like 3.5 hours, every single one of us,
Wow.
and then got up at everyone woke up at 4, and we left at 5, and had a whole like 14-hour day, and we
Imagine
made it.
driving for 14 hours.
And we did, Brandon. And
I know
a
that. I
lot of
can't
those
comprehend that.
days.
and
Dude.
so we made it into Canada that first day, and then we in I think 4.5 days more after that, we finally made it to Missouri and unpacked houses, and so we stayed. My mom and dad and I stayed with my grandparents for a while until my mom and dad finally got a house. And so once that happened, they had jobs and they were busy, and I tried getting a job, and I don't want to talk about it. It didn't go well. Yeah, so we got all moved, and mom and dad got a house, and they're at work all day, and so I didn't have a job. So I was here for like a week, painting every day and working on stuff, and we got the house all painted and got moved in, and so there's been this constant process of slowly unpacking, and I think we're mostly done now. And in the meantime, I've just been, when I can, doing a little bit of work on stuff for the future of H7 Bus and all this here. But I've also been serving at my church a lot, and then there's just all these other things as a person, just trying to learn what life is like in a new place and all that kind of stuff. So
You realize
it's been pretty crazy for me, like spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, socially, all that kind of stuff. But
what
I'm
makes
here
that whole
still,
thing
right?
crazier? What makes that whole thing crazier, Nate, is you're doing this like months after like you're barely an adult now.
Well,
You know?
I'm
And well,
I've
you're
been an
19,
adult
right?
for I'm 19, so I've been an adult for
Right.
like 16
So like
months or
you're
something.
still like in your first years of full adulthood, and you're
Mhm.
just kind of like jumping in head first. There's a lot to do for, especially for someone who's a new young adult moving to a new place,
Yeah,
uh, learning what it's like to be independent in a new place where you don't know anybody.
yeah,
As an adult, like that's a lot of, I don't know how else to put it. That's just a lot for
yeah.
one person.
It's like
So
I'm
commend you for
constantly
being able.
finding moments where I just have to go, okay, this is out of my comfort zone, but it's got to happen, right? I got to talk
Yeah.
to this person or do this thing or sign up for this or fill out that form, just things
Call
that
this person.
I'd used to even be, well, just things that I'd used to be having help with, or things that as a minor you don't have to worry about, that
Yeah.
I'm just having to learn to do, and even just many different situations, meeting people and all that kind of stuff. I'm just surprised how actually difficult for me this move kind of ended up being, because I didn't think it'd be. I didn't expect it to be, but there's been a lot of. I've been forced to grow a lot. There's been a lot of just a lot of me needing to reflect and learn, and it's good though. I like it here. So now I'm just I've got a lot of stuff figured out, and now I'm just looking to the future and living life, right? We all have our things we do. We all have our hobbies. Scott and Brandon specifically, you both read a lot of things.
I more do audiobooks than read.
I'm calling that reading
Still
at the
counts.
moment. So
Okay.
I just want to ask, because here's the deal: we're gonna make this a segment at this point every week. What what have you guys been reading? Now I know what you two read about. And so I just want to give you each a respective moment to rant about it for like 15 minutes.
Oh, you don't want to give me
So-
that opening.
So who wants to go first?
Scott, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I can go first.
What have you been
was
reading,
gonna-
Scott?
Okay, so I haven't necessarily. Well, first off, I've been reading a book called I think it's called. It's been a couple weeks since I picked it back up, but there's two books by an author named I think it's Nicholas Eames. It's
I won't lie, I thought you were going to say
EAMES.
Nicolas Cage.
No, that's funny. But he has this book called Kings of the Wild, and then its sequel, Bloody Rose, which is like it's kind of like this classic fantasy style book. You know, you got your group of adventurers, and they all have like their quirks and these funny little characters. But the first book, Kings of the Wild, is about a group of adventurers who are retired.
Mhm.
So it's like it's the group that finished, they're done, they all like, you know, went their separate ways and had families and everything. And when the one
Okay.
guy who didn't really give up he didn't like go to the family life, like he kept trying to do the adventure thing. He has to go save a family member. And so he pulls the gang back together, and it's like this this band reunion. You know, it's like if the Beatles
Yeah.
came back, but it's all these old men trying to go
Yeah.
on one last adventure, and like they
Now
have
it's
like
just a bunch of
bones that are
dads.
popping, and their like backs are out of
That's funny.
alignment.
That's hilarious.
Like their wrists
Yeah.
are not the way that they should be, and they're just like, I'm too old for this,
That's
because they
funny.
are like
Wow.
in their 50s.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then the sequel is about a new set of adventurers, which is really great.
Oh.
I think it'd be hilarious if the sequel was all of their children.
It's about one of their children.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
Is
her
that
group-
child also 50 at that point, or
No, she's
Okay,
like
okay.
24.
A
or something.
geriatric
Okay.
I don't
child.
know.
no? I mean, like, did they again pull
That's
the
a
whole
Batman
"this is
build.
an old adventurer" card, or what? But I
No,
guess not.
it's a lot of fun. It's a little on the a little heavy on the language side, but it's, I don't know. I think it's hilarious. It's
Yeah.
it's a good read, and I recommend it to anyone who really likes like kind of that like that
young
fantasy.
adult fantasy
Yeah.
fiction kind of stuff. Yeah.
I've been reading that, and then I've been reading another book called The Black Tongue Thief, which I haven't gotten a whole like really far into it, but it's looking pretty cool. And then my favorite part, which I have like I was going
This
to
is
preface
what he
this in the
does.
beginning, I have not been reading these comics because they just came out, and I haven't gone to the comic shop yet, even though it's like down the street. DC Comics has released. I'm a comic guy. I love comics.
Yeah.
They are.
He calls
starting-
me. He'll just call me randomly on like a Saturday and be like, "You got an hour? Let me talk to you about these comics."
Yeah.
It's great.
That's awesome.
They're releasing some new series. This is kind of like their new like starting point for if new readers want to get involved. And I'm pretty sure I have this right. But the first series is called All In, which is all of like the normal superheroes. It's normal Superman, normal Batman. It's the same continuity that they had the last like decade after the New 52 and all that. And it's not like a reboot or anything. It's just these are all fresh stories. You can pick them up here, and you can kind of know what's going on, which is kind of neat. And then they're starting a new series called the Absolute series. And if you're a comic person, and I'm getting this wrong, sorry, I get things wrong. But it's like a reimagining of at the moment Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then now Flash.
Ooh, I love Flash.
Yeah, Flash is really cool. It's actually really dope. It like I've
That's
just seen
interesting.
some like
Okay.
some text list previews of the first like 3 pages, but it looks really cool. But it takes these like core Justice League characters and turns their origin stories on the head, to the point where they're not necessarily like edgy, unless you're Batman.
It's
you're always
it's a
edgy.
total Elseworlds kind of deal though.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
definitely like if you know like the difference between the like the Marvel comics, it's the difference between Amazing Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And just like a brief little going into it with like starting with Batman, which is the first one they threw out. If you look up absolute Batman right now, you will see
nuts.
what he looks like. He looks like a 6'6", broad-shouldered like beefcake. Like he looks like
So he looks
Arnold.
like Darth Vader.
You know
He
that
looks like Arnold when he was in his prime.
he looks like
Oh.
that famous drawing of Captain America where there's just too much chest. But Batman. It's like that.
I don't know.
Just really buff Batman.
A really buff Batman.
Yeah. And it's a story where I'm going into some spoilers for at least the first issue. If you don't want to hear that, then I don't know, probably skip ahead. But the first issue, it shows how Batman is different. Bruce Wayne is a contractor. He builds bridges. He's not rich. He doesn't have an Alfred. His mom is still alive. And he grew up in Crime Alley, where if you know Batman lore, that's kind of a big deal. He grew up with his normal rogues gallery as his best friends, like Catwoman and Harvey Dent, Riddler, Penguin. Like they were his childhood friends. And this is a Batman who is more motivated against specifically the war against crime. Other than trying to avenge his parents' death. His dad died protecting him, but his mom is still alive. So it's a bit different there. And Alfred is an MI6 agent who's trying to...
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. Is like Agent Pennyworth or whatever, who's trying to like stop the crime in Gotham City, and he and Batman like butt heads.
It's very interesting for sure.
It's cool. Superman is... I think the first issue just came out. I've seen a few previews of it, but the general gist of it is he grew up without Smallville. He's like landed on Earth, and he grew up without like, you know, the nice family, the upbringing, and it's more of like kind of like that immigrant story where he's just trying to find his place in the world, especially when the world doesn't want him in it, which has always kind of been a thing with Superman, but it's more of a broad stroke in this version of the story.
Yeah, it focuses more on that for sure.
Yeah, and his cape, which is this is weird, but I kind of love it. His cape is made of the dust of Krypton's ashes.
Wouldn't that weaken him though? The whole point of that is like shards of Krypton weaken him.
I don't know.
That's kryptonite. Kryptonite. That's different.
The planet Krypton.
Yeah, but there's like a
ashes make
whole
up
like
his cape.
show where like two Kryptonians show up and they're like villains and terrible to Superman, but they went through Krypton's debris field on their way to Earth and they ended up catching cancer and dying.
Oh, I don't know.
And then Superman
What?
showed them mercy by being kind to them. Yeah, that's a whole like TV show thing.
It might have been one of the I don't know, but it might have been one of the General Zod things.
I think so. But yeah, no, that's like a lore thing now. Like that's actual official. Like if a Kryptonian goes through the debris of anything Krypton, they like catch cancer.
I mean, I don't doubt that
I think it's
something
just
in
ash, bro.
Krypton
I don't think it's that
is
serious
linked to
in this
kryptonite.
case.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman. I'm trying to quicken this up so Brandon can talk about his stuff. Wonder
It's
Woman.
fine. I'm gonna
was,
take a lot of time, so you take your
Yeah,
time.
just do your thing, man.
This is true. Wonder Woman was she was not raised as an Amazon. She's still an Amazon, but the Amazons did something that ticked Zeus off. So Apollo stole Wonder Woman and gave her to Circe, who is kind of a villain in the original story. And if you know like the Odyssey and stuff, you know who Circe is. And pretty much Apollo made this decree where the word Amazon could not be said, except when Wonder Woman grows up, she's able to say it. So Wonder Woman was raised by the witch Circe on the island of Hell, to essentially be the thing that stands against like the creatures of the underworld and the overworld, like the rest of Earth. So she's like this lone defender against like supernatural forces, and she rides like a skeletal horse, and she's got like this Final Fantasy like berserks kind of sword.
Wonder Woman is metal for sure.
It's dope.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
That is the most metal thing they could do to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is awesome. She's got like this big like fur cloak. It's so cool. And then
So they
last
turned her
one,
from an Amazonian into kind of like a Viking kind of figure.
it kind of feels like that. She's still an Amazon.
Yeah.
Her whole like origin story is the same for the most part, like where she came from. It's just she was raised by a different mom.
It's almost like they blended Amazonian with like Viking feels.
It kind of feels like that in a way. Like if like her mom was like Hel from
That's so cool.
from the Norse pantheon, but it's Cersei.
Yeah.
And then the Flash.
Ooh, I
there's
haven't
not
heard
a
about
whole
this one
lot.
yet.
There's not a whole lot that's like been talked about at this moment.
Mhm.
But I love it because it gives me Ultimate Spider-Man vibes. The Flash is Wally West, and he
Okay.
does not have Barry as his mentor.
Okay.
Barry isn't the Flash. Wally has to learn how to be the Flash
From scratch.
from scratch.
Okay.
And he's young.
That is super cool.
And
So it's
he's
the-
got, like,
It's
this,
the Wally archetype, but without the mentor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of all that I know at the moment.
That's interesting.
But it looks cool. It looks really
Yeah.
cool. And the art is just beautiful. It's so cool. That's all I've been reading.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
I've been reading actual books and I've looking at previews of other comics. There's some other stuff going on in comics. Marvel is doing like an Avengers and Alien run right now. And a Black Panther versus Predator, which is right after Wolverine versus Predator, which was a 4-part series like last year.
Didn't
Which was
Wolverine
really
win?
dope. Oh yeah, it was no
Of
contest.
course, man. It's
Um,
Wolverine.
It was just cool because it was the same Predator hunting Wolverine for like 80 years. So it goes through the different eras in Wolverine's life
Yeah.
as the Predator is hunting him.
Wolverine with
and it
the
ends
bone
with him.
claws. Wolverine with the metal claws.
It ends with the. I
Yeah.
think I've seen spoilers. It ends with like the Predator detonating his bomb, right, and disintegrating himself, and then Wolverine just like gets up. Like that was annoying.
Yep. But it has like, I think it's the third issue. It has like the X-Men helping him fight the Predator, which is really cool. Like seeing Colossus go up against the Predator was like, oh shoot,
That's interesting.
this is
man.
cool.
Yeah.
And now they're doing a
Predator?
Black Panther run with the Predator.
The Predator thinks he has a laser. Let me
I
show
feel
you
like-
this.
I feel like
Cyclops.
Black Panther would do pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's just it's interesting because Marvel and Disney by extension has like the rights to like Alien right now,
Yeah.
which is not something like I've ever like thought about. Like that's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it gives them the
How did they
opportunity.
get that?
I don't know. But Marvel makes all the Alien comics now, which by extension means they can do Marvel
Yeah, they have the
hero
comic rights.
crossovers.
It's interesting because it's actually like, it's not just a weird comic crossover. It has, it's not just a random what if kind of death battle. It's actually got some amount of like officialness to it that makes it kind of interesting. It's people that are have gotten the opportunity to like professionally write about these characters are almost definitively answering the question of who would win, which is kind of cool.
I think an entire like 100-part series comic line of what ifs, where like Marvel reaches out to like every major fiction like writer / company out there, and they're like, hey, let's answer every question ever.
I just
Like,
want to see
imagine-
Spider-Man trapped in a ship with like 8 xenomorphs.
That's what I'm
about
saying.
all. That's all.
Imagine-
That's all I want to see, man.
Like
That'll be
imagine a
nuts.
what if comic written by it will never happen, but written by Marvel about Spider-Man getting lost in the Death Star somehow.
Careful,
That'd
buddy.
be
That
awesome.
might be true in a couple of years. We'll see what happens.
That'd be so cool.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
could
Like
do that.
Spider-Man
in,
has to
in
figure out how to deal with
Fortnite
Darth
or
Vader.
something.
Well, the Fortnite and Marvel comics, I think, have already happened. They've already done Fortnite and Batman comics, or Fortnite
Oh,
Justice.
I didn't know they
Like,
were
all those
making
comics
comics.
exist.
Oh, I was just saying that they have Star Wars characters, they have Batman characters, they have Dragon Ball characters, they have Marvel characters, all those guys in Fortnite.
Yep.
Um, I still haven't played the game in like maybe 7 years or something, and all these characters being in it now makes me not doesn't make me want to play it ever again anymore than I didn't want to, but it's just interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the
Disney's
ultimate
really
crossover.
leaning hard into the Fortnite stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're doing this
Thank
whole
you,
like
Random
Star
Warrior.
Wars thing, like a whole like Star Wars expansion or something. I don't know. Whenever I see Fortnite, I look the other way because I don't care. But
Yeah.
there's something going on in that corner of the field right now.
Yeah.
All right, time.
Yep.
Your turn, Brandon.
Oh boy. So as always, I am in 40K novels right now, and I have been going through just series after series over the last couple of years.
How many have you read? You've
I'm
told
like
me the
80
number.
novels in. I'm like 80 in now.
Holy cow!
Yeah. Each novel is between 8 to 14 hours, depending
How
on
much
the
money do you
novel.
spend on these books?
Audible.
So I have Audible, so I get a free credit every month, and
Oh,
then
cool.
a lot of my hobby money go towards getting more credits. But if you buy credits, it's cheaper than buying the books.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like
'Cause you
each
can
book
bundle
is usually about
credits.
$22. So
Dang.
give or take. But a
Yeah.
credit is like, I don't know how
15,
much a
I
credit
think.
is
I think it's
actually.
15.
And if you buy multiple credits at once, it's cheaper. So
Yeah.
and so for me, I'll just like
Audible
buy a
is
bundle of 5 credits every
wonderful.
6 months, and then just I'll go through a book every other week or so. Yeah, I go through a good bit.
So what are you in
Oh,
right now?
boy. So I just finished. The series is not done. However, there is the Gaunt's Ghost series is what I've been going through, and it's great. Gaunt's Ghost follows a Colonel Commissar by the name of Ibrahim Gaunt, and he joins a regiment of Imperial Guard soldiers called the Tanith First and Only. It's because they are the first regiment and the only regiment to come from the planet of Tanith. And on their day of founding, they were invaded by a Chaos fleet and died, basically.
Dang.
So the first book is him taking control of this regiment. So they're non-replenishable. It's a limited amount of dudes. And it just follows the different stories of the Tanith regiment as they go battle to battle to battle, never really getting rest. And it follows like 20 different characters all throughout these set of novels. And it's just so well written, and you get really invested in these characters. And then on book, say 9 of 14, they just kill off Kafran in the most brutal way possible. And,
Oh, dude, he told me, and he told me about it.
So I'll give
after
you
he
a
had first
brief
read it, and it's
thing about it. Broke my heart, dude.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of the commissary, Scott, in their back room, and
Oh.
when it happened, I heard it, and it was out of my control. I yelled out loud in their back room, "No freaking way!" And everyone looked at me like I was a crazy person. So Kafran, in book number 2, they really set him up to be this awesome guy, where he's just like a 19-year-old kid. He's a common trooper, but he's a really cool dude, and he's just a really reliable, nice guy. Book 3 comes around, and they're defending this hive city from a Chaos Army invasion. And Kafran finds a small girl and 2 young children and protects them through the siege, keeping them alive. After the city siege is done, the city's dead, so the inhabitants are allowed to join the ghosts, to join the regiment as more ghosts, thus keeping the moniker Gaunt's Ghosts, because he takes dead worlds basically into his regiment at this point.
Mhm.
So Kafran brings this girl and these 2 children in with him. The girl joins the regiment, and Kafran marries her, and he adopts these children as his own.
Wow.
Absolute Giga Chad, great guy. 6 books later, you're following Kafran as he's like being a great soldier, a good man, a good dad, a great husband. 6 books later, they're on a chaos corrupted world, going like room to room, clearing this town. And Kafran's is the squad leader now. He runs into this room and uh, they get into a brief firefight with an enemy who shoots his trooper. They take care of the enemy, and Kafran goes to administer first aid to his downed trooper. And while he's doing so, like some 7-year-old kid corrupted by chaos crawls out of a corner and picks up Kafran's gun and aims it at him. And Kafran turns and goes, "Now you don't want to do that. We'll take care of you. It's okay." And the kid shoots him.
Oof.
And that's how they killed him. And I was like, yeah, I was so upset, bro. I was so upset.
That is
Yeah.
indeed yell worthy.
I stopped what I was doing to write a review to the author and be like, "I'm angry with you, but also that is so well written, I can't be angry with you.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted."
Yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, it's just
Awesome.
like I can't do it justice. I really, really enjoy how well written it is. And the narrator for all but 1 or 2 of the books is the same dude, and he's this deep voice, sultry British guy. Oh,
I
I've
love
heard
that.
it.
I love
yeah.
I love when you have consistent narrators throughout a series of audiobooks. Like a lot of the Halo ones, there's this one guy who does it, and he does a great job. Only problem is he says Mjolnir armor instead of Mjolnir armor. But besides that, he normally
That'd be a
does a
turn
great
off.
job.
you turn off.
And
Immediately.
when that's like the first person you have listened to, and you listen to like 4 books with them, anytime you don't hear them, you're like, this is weird.
Where's my phone? I'm gonna do the taboo. I'm gonna look at my phone to tell you who the narrator and author are. I highly recommend this narrator. He's amazing.
I want to
Open
go listen
Audible.
to him.
Opening Audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
1 sec. Oh yeah. By the way, if you look, I don't know if you can see it in the
81.
81 books.
That's cool.
The newest series I got into, I'm following Dante, the chapter master of the Blood Angels. He's sick.
Cool.
Okay, so the Gaunt's Ghost book series is written by Dan Abnett, and its primary narrator his name is Toby Longworth. Look them
Toby
up; they're
Longworth.
amazing.
Okay.
All right.
Toby Longworth and Dan Abnett. Dan Abnett also writes non-Warhammer books, so if you're not into Warhammer, he might write fiction stuff that you're into.
He also minors in theoretical physics.
I feel like he might. He's a pretty smart guy.
I
don't know if you're
that was
trolling
a
or not.
reference I was supposed to get. That.
No, I
don't
I
either.
don't know. I
I
was
think
just
Scott was
saying.
joking.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
sure.
Yeah.
I guess it was a joke.
Okay.
He's
It's
a
just-
great writer though.
You know, like Warhammer and science fiction books, like Star Trek, they're full of like all this like science fiction mumbo jumbo where you're
Yeah.
like, do you actually know what you're talking about? Are you making all this up? Because you have me sold on this.
Yeah.
I think this is real life,
Dude,
now.
they're so picky with that on Star Trek sets with the scripts and with the words. And
Oh,
like they
yeah.
have like they've had whole teams for years dedicated to simply the jargon and getting it
Yeah,
all
I
right.
learned
And
if you want to be an official writer for Games Workshop for 40K, you have to know your stuff. Like you have to know your terminology because if you mess it up, they'll be like, "No, you're not releasing your novel."
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. They're
yeah.
also Games Workshop is extremely protective of their IP, which they should be.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they've worked hard, I guess, to make it what it is. So
So, have you heard any updates about Henry Cavill with his Amazon show he's trying to make?
I know
the
that
Warhammer show.
there's been some interviews. I haven't like gone to watch any of them, but I know there's been some stuff.
Hmm.
Give me the
Yeah,
news.
is it gonna
just
be
think-
live action?
I don't know.
Because
They've been
I'm
very
what I'm
tight-lipped.
worried about. Is I mean,
How
I
are they
totally
gonna? If it's live action, how are they gonna capture the scale?
yeah, I would totally love a Warhammer show, but I would prefer live action because
Well,
Yeah.
just because I like live action, and I like I like practical effects, and I feel like that's the direction you kind of have to go with a Warhammer show. But the problem is, if you're trying to make an Amazon TV show nowadays, man, with what you got to do for Warhammer, you just don't have the budget, and so I'd
Well,
almost rather them go
I actually disagree, and I
animated.
think a show that gave us hope that they can pull off the scale of Space Marines with a budget would be the Fallout show that came out.
I haven't seen that
This
one.
is
They
true.
nailed power armor. They did a great
Okay.
job with the power armor in that.
I didn't
Now,
see
admittedly,
Fallout, but I know that it was
they did a
I
great
know it
job.
did well.
it was really really good.
Well received, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either, but all the things I've seen talked about it, they were talking about how that show actually gives hope to them nailing Space Marines.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Amazon
sorry, Nate, I
Yeah,
is
interrupted.
not
but
a
I'm not just
stickler.
talking about Space Marines. I'm literally talking about everything else. I'm talking about. I mean, it depends on what story you're gonna tell. If you're gonna tell something from the, something that's already been told, like, are you gonna put the Fall Acadia
Yeah.
on TV, or
Oh, there's no way they could do
are
it.
you just gonna do, you know, 3 Imperial Guardsmen stranded on some planet or whatever? Like, what are you gonna do? Because
I think they
if
would
you
have
want
to
to
follow
tell a
story.
grand Warhammer story, you're gonna need a lot of time, a lot of CGI artists, a lot of guys to build props and practical effects and to build models and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and you're gonna need dudes to help operate the Space Marine armor and guys that are
What?
big enough to bring justice to those roles
Yeah.
and honestly it makes me go, well, probably just do some nice stylized CGI kind of deal.
Makes
I
me
think
think of
they're
the Transformer movies. Yeah.
I think their best hope of pulling it off and it being good is going to be one, I don't think they should make a show about Space Marines. If they
Really?
do, no. Even though Space Marines are the poster boys, it's going to be extremely difficult to execute what a Space Marine is. Because like every time you hear them narrated and every time you like an author writes about them, it's like they're barely human.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
feel like the best
care how
way
good
to
of an
do
actor
Space
you
Marines
are.
is it'd have to be CGI, but yeah, I think you would have to do something CGI animated, right?
I think
Just like an
having
animated
Space
show,
Marines as a side
but
character or
I
having them show up is okay.
I,
But I
I
don't
would be
think you can have
fine
it
with
focused on them.
I'd be fine with them focusing on Space Marines if they told kind of like a Dawn of War type story, where you
Well,
actually kind of get time to even learn about some of the characters. But for the most part, I mean, they're probably gonna focus on someone more human, like a character we can actually relate to. So it makes sense if they go a guardsman route or something like that. And then
also,
Space Marines as a side character, like you're saying, makes a lot of sense.
well, so what I was, and to finish what I was trying to say there is, if they do Space Marines, I think the only good option they have two good options, and that's about it. They can do the Horus Heresy, and they can do like a Garviel Loken show, or they can do like Space Marine Battles, which is a novel series which goes over a series of important Space Marine battles in the modern setting, and then it'd be more episodic
Yeah,
than it would be
it
long
wouldn't be
form series.
serialized. Yeah,
The What I would prefer to see though is I would love to see a Gaunt's Ghost series or a Caiaphas Cain series or an Eisenhorn series named established normal human characters, like you said, that are more relatable,
hmm
are easier to empathize with.
yeah,
Like I absolutely 100% believe Caiaphas Cain would be so easy for everybody to empathize with. Self-proclaimed self-proclaimed coward and scoundrel, absolutely a flawed human being,
That guy. Cool.
accidentally becomes the most competent guardsman ever. Every
yeah.
time he runs away trying to preserve his life, he runs into a bigger danger and ends up besting it in single combat somehow. It's hilarious.
The problem with him specifically, and this is actually just a part of Warhammer in general that I'd be very curious to see how they're gonna display, is that you have this grimdark show with this serious tone, and a guy like Caiaphas Cain and how he keeps like you know, Jar Jaring his way through situations is gonna
Well,
be too
it's
funny.
not
It'll be too
exactly a
humorous, I think.
it's not
And
exactly a
so I'm
Jar
very
Jar situation though. Like, so the way the novels do it, like, it's not like Jar Jar Binks kind of goofy. It's more
yeah.
like
I was just trying to find a way
like he stands
to
heroically
say it.
behind the front line and throws out random platitudes, but then his inner monologue is, I'm just gonna stand behind these guardsmen because they make great meat shields. And so it's on the outward appearance, he's doing like these grand heroic gestures, and he's an absolute coward inside. And he's just doing these heroic gestures to save his fraudulent
Okay.
reputation.
Okay.
Or like, I'm gonna go watch our flank because I think the enemy might be there. And he says that so he can get away from the front lines, and then the enemy is actually at that flank, and he has to now deal with a stronger, worse enemy because of it.
Well,
It's that kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
not like Jar Jar Binks like you're thinking.
yeah. It's just it'll be interesting to see in general how they navigate the subtle
grim
humor that's in a lot of Warhammer, how they'll balance that with the overall very serious tone. Do we know
Honestly,
if Henry Cavill will be acting in it?
I hope so.
Or is he just like directing or writing or what is it? I just know that he's
I think
involved
he's
in a
doing all of
Warhammer
it.
show.
I think he's doing all of it. He's producing. I think the best way to deal with the grim dark and the dark humor of it, Nate, is literally just have it happen and then don't even talk about it. Like the first time the audience sees a servitor, just have it like if the characters in the show act like it's completely normal part of daily life, you will realize, oh, that's just Warhammer. That is
Yeah.
just how it is, and it doesn't feel awkward or out of place. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to avoid that entire thing you're talking about, which is
Yeah.
how do you make it seem natural.
I just think from a writing perspective, it's gonna for sure be challenging. But if you've got a guy like
Yeah.
Henry Cavill, who we know for sure cares about source material, as made clear by his time with The Witcher, just how much
Yeah.
he really cares about the source material and how much effort he's gonna really put into it, then I think you could trust that he'd find a way to make it work.
I think I would implicitly trust Henry Cavill to do a good job. He also plays the tabletop.
This is true.
He has an army of custodians.
Hey,
I'm sure he has more than that.
Well, that's his primary army. Let me rephrase. That's his main army, his custodians. He has like 3 armies. I think he has orcs too. Man after my own heart. One sec.
Awesome.
I just need to show something. I probably shouldn't do this while I'm in the middle of a fight, but I don't care. This
You
is
got it.
obviously more important.
Is that?
Oh, there's not enough
Gazgul?
light. That's my Gazgul mini.
yeah.
Oh man,
As an orc boy.
he's so cool.
Oh, you guys don't get to see the detail because it's starting to get dark out where I am.
We showed it off on the Dawn of War episode.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. Yeah, we had a few minutes.
Go to the Dawn of War video on
That was
Nathaniel's
a good
channel
video.
here.
It was.
It's actually one of your
Yeah.
most
fun. It
viewed
was
videos.
actually really fun to make, and we were so tired.
It may
We
or
were
may not have been 11
exhausted.
o'clock at night.
and,
Because of that.
and I have no idea how we. I don't know that. I think you could tell that I'm tired because I did not look very happy or sound or did not necessarily like make. I wasn't very funny, but I was like focused and I was enjoying myself. I just don't. I think it showed very well. That was
Nate,
interesting.
sometimes you choose very interesting times to get heavily focused on stuff, and it's hilarious to me. The amount of times people at church have been like, "Is Nate okay? He looks upset." I'm just like, "Nah, he's just focused. He's fine."
People have said the same thing about me. It's just our face, man. Welch face just looks angry all the time.
As Scott would say with the mug he gave his sister, resting lich face.
Yep.
Yes.
She still has that mug.
And,
Does she enjoy
yeah.
it?
I don't know. I don't know if.
I could
I-
see her using it. She probably finds it funny.
Yeah, I don't know if she
Probably,
drinks out of.
yeah.
She's got a water bottle and probably drinks other things out of a cup. So I don't know.
How about you, Nate? What
What have I been
media
reading?
have you been consuming? Have you been
Oh,
reading
we'll
books?
we'll get to media here in a minute, but I guess as far as reading, so I back in July at the end of the first half of the year, I started reading the Bible at the beginning of the year because I've been doing that for the last few years, trying to read the Bible once every year, but I'm doing it twice this year, so I'm already halfway through my second time through.
Wow.
So I'm reading the Bible
Dang.
a lot, obviously. Uh, but then besides that, lately it's been a lot of Christian books. Just trying to learn about whatever it is, and yeah, I've just been reading a lot of Mark Batterson. And then besides that, Halo audiobooks, man, they're so good. I mean, come on.
How many Halo audiobooks are there?
Halo books in general, it's there's a high number. I think it's maybe might be in the 30s.
Oh,
Um,
that's not that bad.
Halo books. Um, according to Halo Waypoint, there's a lot here. There's a lot of different series. Um, yeah, I really like them. I like Halo. So that's I
Oh,
what I've been reading. I don't read as much as you guys do, though. I think is the difference. So I don't have as much to say here. But I'm curious, just because we really haven't been. We, yeah, like I said, haven't talked too much. So how has gaming in general been for you guys the past few months? Is there any new games you've been playing? Any things you're looking forward to, or just what have you been playing lately in general? Like I know we all three here just got. I know Brandon had it, but Scott and I just got WoW subs to play WoW, so we could all start playing WoW Classic together again.
Yep.
So we've kind of got back on that train, and Brandon and I are still playing
yeah.
not as
I,
much as we were back in North Pole,
Oh,
but
you're gonna
we're
heal.
still playing a good amount of Counter Strike together. But besides that, what have you guys been playing? What's gaming
Uh,
been looking like for you?
I play Counter Strike with you and Carter. I've been playing Space Marine with Jonathan. We finished the campaign over the
That's
course
cool.
of a few sessions. It's good, dude. It's awesome. I don't want to. Do you guys? Do you think I should avoid spoilers because it is so relatively new?
Probably for the moment. Give it like a couple months, and then you're probably good to put the spoilers
Ah,
out.
oh,
Just considering how new it is.
How's
yeah,
it
dude,
how's it
it's so
rate
good.
though as
It's
a
so
game?
good.
Like is it
The
good
gameplay
or
is super good. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is a really low benchmark, but this is just the state of modern AAA games. It's a completed game. They released a
Wow.
complete product.
standing
Let's
ovation?
go.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And that alone might make it worthy of Game of the Year. I'm not even kidding.
I believe that.
I have no
Also,
idea what's
like,
gonna be game of the year this year. It's been
it's
a weird year for
just,
game releases.
it's a really satisfying game to play. Like, dude, you're running around. I said this about the first one, and they maintain that feeling in this one. You are a space marine. You are a monster of a man running through and massacring the enemies of mankind, and it feels good. Like, there's no other way to put it. You are a behemoth in 1-ton power armor running around smashing people. It's great. The first time you get that power sword, oh, it's good. Anyways,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
good game, good reviews.
Cool.
What about you, Scott? What have you been playing?
I've been filling my time with a little bit of Gundam stuff, a lot of Terraria.
Really? You
Recent
got back into Terraria without me?
on the
He's
Switch.
been playing it on Switch. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
is
not
it not
crossplay.
cross-platform?
Not
Oh.
until the next update, which should be soon,
That'll be
I
interesting.
think.
Well,
Oh, so they are
but-
gonna get that.
Yeah, the plan is to get it here soon. I've seen some, like I'm part of their Discord, so I see some of like the things that they put on
Mhm.
there. But they had like some testing footage of this last update, that had like a PlayStation player, a Switch player, and I think like a phone player. So that's cool.
That's interesting. Well,
But it's been all right. A lot of Monster Hunter. I'm getting ready for the next one to come out because that one looks like it's going to be like the best Monster Hunter in the last decade, which is surprising.
Better
To
than
say.
hey,
World, do you think?
Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate still got my.
It looks like it's
No.
gonna.
Monster
It's the
Hunter 4
true
was really good,
sequel
too.
to World. Like it's got the same kind of graphic design. It seems like everything is a little heavier.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
Rise was the ninja one, and that one was a little more floaty. It
World
harkened
was
back
It
to the
just
older
also
so well
games.
seemed
designed.
Rise also seemed, and I know it came out on other consoles, but it did seem very much more developed for the Switch.
It was.
When
Yeah.
World was not on the Switch because it was made for
Consoles.
well, it was made for for PS4
Big consoles.
Pro and PC and stuff.
Yeah.
I
But
really
this one,
think World was super well designed.
It was a good game. Yeah.
you should see some of the trailers for it, Brandon. It looks like World. It just looks like it has more of that it has more of like an adventure kind of aspect to it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of
So
up my
it
alley.
looks
I
cool.
like the grounded, like
yeah,
I like my games more grounded. I'm
Mhm.
a simple kind of guy. That's why I like WoW so much. Like
it has mounts now.
what, Monster Hunter?
Yeah, yeah. You have like this big like. It's not really big, but it's like it's almost like a chocobo, but like
Like
a
an
dragon.
ostrich or something.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
do you get
Yeah.
to tame? Do you get to forcibly tame monsters into being your mount?
Dude,
That would-
the
they have that game
the
already.
great Jagai mount.
Scott, there
Yeah,
is
right.
no chance if they added that to Monster Hunter that I would not like spend hours trying to tame a Devil Joe.
So they have a game called Monster Hunter Riders, or is it Monster Hunter Stories? I don't know. It might be Stories, but that's the whole
Stories, I
premise.
think.
Is it's
Yeah.
all the combat? It's all done by mount stuff, but it's I don't know. It's not the same.
It was
It's
it was
definitely
a,
not the
yeah,
same.
it was
It's like an
definitely more of a
RPG.
kids game too.
Yeah,
I want to play World where I can ride an angry pickle into battle.
that would be dope.
My biggest problem with World, and it's probably why I've played more Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate than World since it's come out, right? Is I like what they did. I like how they've innovated in terms of not having the map sections and
Yeah,
multiple monsters and the way they fight each other and all like I like the way they've innovated on most of the mechanics, but I think they made combat a little too complicated in World. I think not. I mean, you can obviously just spam and make your way through the game that way, but as far as moves go and learning those moves, I
Oh,
feel
like
like
the combos.
there was
yeah.
a little too many, or not even that there was too many, but that I just want them to streamline that because in older Monster Hunter games it's very simple and it's very much like you could add some more here, but I feel like with World they added too much. I haven't played Rise, so I don't know what it's like there, but I kind of want them to meet in the middle in some degree as far as I mean the cool thing about World is it really felt like that game they just went they tried to innovate on everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like they hit it out of the park in most areas. But there are a few
I love-
places that I kind of want them to dial it back down a little bit to be more like classic Monster Hunter. That being said, if the new game is basically just going to be World 2, then I'll still play it. I'll still be here for it.
Yeah,
Very
it's-
fun.
A question I
looks
have for you, Nate. This is going back to a reference I've been making about myself all week. Are you possibly just having a grumpy old man moment
No,
about the
I
game?
like
You don't
World.
think it's
I like World. I'm just saying,
and you know what I mean by that, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
My thing with World is I play Monster Hunter to play Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
And there's very specific things I'm looking for in Monster Hunter that World has because it's a Monster Hunter game. But there's some places where I think it could go back to its roots a little more to maintain that identity. I think it's fine if Monster Hunter does not make itself like a lot of other games. I think it's
Yeah.
fine if Monster Hunter stays what it is.
This will shock neither of you, but you know what my only major complaint about Monster Hunter
The
is?
camera.
The handler.
Yep. Oh no, I have two. You're right. I hate the handler. I hate the handler so much. Shut your mouth when I'm trying to kill monsters. All right.
I'm pretty sure you
I
can
know
turn,
I'm.
No
I
part.
know
you know
I'm
you can
getting
turn
beat
that
up.
off in settings, right? I'm
You
pretty
can make
sure.
her shut up.
Pretty
Yeah,
sure
you can change.
turn
You can
turn off
change the language, or you can turn the
mid-combat.
dialogue down.
Yeah. The
Oh,
mid-combat
well, that doesn't
dialogue.
stop her from forcing my camera to stare at a wall and talking at me.
Oh,
Like, shut up! Stop snapping my camera into
I-
a wall because you're talking at me from camp. I'm trying
I
to
know
fight
you've
the
had all these
monster.
problems with the camera, but for me and Scott, who have been playing Monster Hunter for 10 years, it's like
over 10.
over 10 at this point. Yeah, I'm immune to the camera. It's like I play Mario 64 and I'm like, this game doesn't have a bad camera because I
You-
know
you
how to
have to
use it at this
understand-
point. But
Monster Hunter might be
Brandon-
the
Yeah.
only game with a worse camera
It does,
than
though.
Dark Souls.
Well, that's the thing is like from like Monster Hunter generations backwards. So like before World, we didn't have a camera, like a way to move the camera.
Stop resisting.
Great. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
you needed a circle
Because like if
pad.
when it was on the
right.
DS, you had to use it had a D-pad on the touch screen that you had to use to turn the camera.
Ugh.
Well, you could
Yeah.
use the normal D-pad too, Scott.
Yeah, you
So-
could use the other one that was under.
Or
your,
if you had
your-
a Circle
your
Pad
stick.
Pro.
You're telling me Monster Hunter World was an upgrade?
Yes, very much so.
Oh no. That's atrocious.
I don't
So
know
you
what it was like on the original one on the PS2. Did it
So on
have
the
was it
PS2
triggers? Was it R2L2?
I think it was the triggers moved the
Okay.
camera because
wow.
your right analog stick, your right joystick was your attack button.
Yeah. But R2L2 is how cameras moved back then. I mean, if you play, for example, like Sonic Adventure or Spyro the Dragon, that's what you would move the camera with back then. So
Or Transformers on the DS.
Yeah. But like games like Spyro didn't feel clunky with the camera movement. It felt smoother.
well, you maybe didn't think about it as like a 7-year-old.
I don't know. It feels different on games like Spyro and with things like that. Like, I don't know. The Monster Hunter World camera for me, and again, this is because I'm not. You guys hit the nail on the
It
head.
could be a mouse and keyboard
didn't-
thing too.
I didn't deal with terrible cameras my entire
Yeah.
childhood. I played games like Dawn of War and stuff like that, where
Yeah.
you control the camera the whole time.
Yeah.
Did you play Mario 64?
I played Mario 64 on my uncle's Nintendo 64 once every other week.
That game has the worst camera.
But like
You
I'm
say
saying, dude,
that, but, like-
I've played so much of it that I just don't even notice it at this point. But I'll be
Dude,
honest, when
I
I
just-
first played
I
that
love
game, I
Mario.
was like, oh.
See, it frustrated
trying
you
to
more
play
than it
Frustrated
frustrated
by
me.
But nowadays it's, I
You
mean,
played on a 3DS?
eventually you learn it. And
No, just the DS.
The
not
DS.
Oh,
3DS.
that's so much worse.
I had the DS version first, and then I think I lost it. and
So
then
not
got it
only
on
is the
Wii
camera
U.
bad, but you're sitting here like this with your
Yeah.
hands on the tiny little.
Yeah, but
controls.
when you're 7, you got tiny hands, man. So playing on a
Maybe you did.
DSi, so it's big.
I've always been big.
I mean,
When I
tinier
was
than I have
10
now. So
Nate, when I was 10, I had to use a DSi XL.
yeah, and that's why I was playing it on probably.
The XL? Oh,
Mhm.
never mind. It wasn't like
Yeah.
this. It was more like this, and it was comfy.
I got big hands though. My hands are bigger than my dad's. They're longer. They're not wider, but they're
Alright.
longer. I have the longest fingers in my family. That's why I play the guitar.
I want to segue then, while we're on this long fingers and
Yeah.
hands thing. What is the most comfortable controller ever made? And what is the least comfortable controller ever made?
Oh boy. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, I have no dog in this fight.
I play mostly with controller. I don't
Mhm.
like playing with mouse and keyboard. I think it's
Yeah.
atrocious. That's
Really?
because I grew up. That's because I grew up with controllers my
Oh
entire
yeah,
life.
you're not
Yeah,
used
whole
to.
life.
I
makes
like
perfect sense.
playing on the couch. I
Mm.
like being able to recline and kind of like chill out. I don't like standing upright and having to do the whole mouse and keyboard thing.
I
For
mean,
those of
you
you
can
who can do
slouch
it,
like a
that's cool,
goblin
man.
and still
Go
mouse and
for it.
keyboard.
Yeah, but then my back is all messed up.
I'm doing it right
Um,
now. It's great.
Well, let's talk in 30 years. We'll table this conversation.
I guess you're
As
right.
far as controllers go, I love the way that the PlayStation 5 controller feels, but I think Microsoft and Xbox will always have superior controllers as far as comfort goes.
I agree with you, by the way. Xbox 360 is the best controller ever made.
I think PlayStation controllers are just kind of sweaty.
I think they're too
You
thick.
gotta wash your hands.
I think PlayStation controllers are too
I don't
thin.
know.
The new Xbox controllers are too thick.
They were in PS2, PS3 days. They were too thin. PS1
Yeah.
obviously is the same, but
Yeah.
PS4 controller and PS5 controller are much bigger,
I
bigger
think
than
the
Xbox.
Best controller ever
The
made
Xbox
has to be the
ones
360.
nowadays. But,
No, the 360, dude.
no, I was
They're
saying I was
so-
talking
The
about
Steam
the,
Deck.
the PS5 controllers are bigger than the nowadays Xbox ones.
Oh, okay.
So Scott, you're saying, what are you saying then is the most comfortable?
What am I saying?
Yeah,
be
is the
more
most
specific.
I said the
then just-
Xbox. Or I didn't
Oh,
have...
which one?
The only one that I've ever used was... I guess I did use... was the 360. That's the one I've used
Yeah.
the most, and that one was always really comfortable.
It's like the
I have
perfect
played with
proportions.
what is it? The Xbox One? Is that the one after the 360?
Mhm.
They're too thick.
They keep adding syllables, so I don't know what.
Yeah,
what
the
they're on
Xbox
right
One
now.
controller is the same as the Series X too.
Oh, okay.
It's just the same. They kept the same model.
I like the 360 one. The one is okay. I actually like that one too, but
I don't. The back is too long. Like it's too thick in the back, so it doesn't feel as comfortable to hold like this. Feels a little awkward in your hands. Maybe that's just me.
So you guys are both saying
I
360.
think the 360.
So, as far as like those kind of controllers, Xbox is, what I agree with. However, the Wii Nunchuck.
Oh, dude, I forgot about the Wii. How do you forget about the Wii, bro? Dude,
I think
with
the
the
Wii
nunchuck,
mode and the Nunchuck. Oh, that's good.
that's
a
how I
lot of
used to play
freedom,
Smash
man.
That's
Bros.
good time. Yeah.
Yeah, the nunchuck, bro. Oh, I forgot about that. I mean, it was
Dude.
awkward, and it was absolute.
Raw,
Upon
man.
further reflection, as an adult, absolutely terrible controls. The nunchuck was horribly inefficient,
Yeah.
but it was fun.
Especially when you get older and you're like, wow, this isn't very long. How do I do like the bow games?
Oh, dude, the Wii controller was amazing, though. I forgot about that. It was awful, but it was also amazing at the same time.
All right, give me a second. I want to grab some controllers and have a little presentation here.
Oh,
Nathaniel,
no.
it's the Wii U. His favorite is the Wii U.
Nate loves the Wii U.
I would not be
course.
surprised. He's probably not going to bring it out, but if he does,
Nathan,
it's going to be the
Nathaniel
Wii U.
is the age of an iPad kid. It is the closest controller to an iPad, so that
I
makes
don't.
sense.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I don't know the Switch. No, I guess the Wii U is closer. It's bigger than the Switch or the
Yeah.
Steam Deck. I think it's bigger than the Steam Deck. I've never held the Steam Deck before. So
Well,
I don't
Scott,
know.
this is a question for you then. What is the best handheld console ever made?
Not the Switch. Well, actually, the Switch is pretty great, but as far as like if we're looking at how comfortable it is, I would probably go with the Wii U.
Just the best console ever. It doesn't have to be. like handheld
Game Boy
console.
Advance.
Oh, which one? Like the flip open one or like
Yeah,
the
that
solid
was mine.
brick?
I
All right,
grew up
I'm
with
back.
The flip
I had
phone. It's
both.
the Wii U, Nathaniel. Your favorite is the Wii U.
No, it's not.
Oh.
All right, so let's have a little talk about controllers. Okay. So
Here we
this
go.
here that I've got,
Sit down. The professor's talking.
very good controller. All right, very good. Works well with my NES Classic. Buttons are cut in a certain way that your thumbs like naturally, the circle goes in on itself instead of out on itself. So it's very
Bro's
easy
about
to
to bring out a
find the
Street
click.
Fighter joystick.
This D-pad feels nice. Goes in many directions. It's not too squishy. Start select, very good. Very easy to grab. You don't necessarily get tired from holding it, but a con here is it's pointy. You know, it's square. It doesn't really conform to your hands. So it's a
right
good
angles.
controller. The NES controller is good, but it's not my favorite. I've got here.
Okay, Nathaniel,
Hey.
real quick. I think it'd be hilarious. You need to make a YouTube video series of you doing a review, like an in-depth review of every controller ever made.
Well, I need to get them all first.
The Virtual
continue.
Boy.
I've got here. Oh, so this is just an honorable mention. This is not on my top 5 controller list, by the way.
Oh, you're doing a top 5? I
I'm
asked
doing a
for
top
one.
5. Okay. I've got here Xbox Series X controller. Very, you know, it conforms to your hands. It's nice. Joysticks kind of do the same thing. They go in, buttons click good, everything works good. D-pad, I like that it's the circle, so it has a set D-pad, but it makes it easier to go into other directions. It's a good controller. Triggers are responsive. Here's my complaint with Xbox controllers. My hands are big. And this is honestly a pretty tiny controller. Obviously not as tiny as the NES, but compared to like a DualShock 4 or 5. But that's fine. I can still reach everything fine. It's not uncomfortable to use. But my complaint is that my hands go in when I use it. They go in too much. My wrists are pointing in. I'm used to it being more out here, so it feels kind of unnatural. So it's not my favorite. I'll say this is number 5 on the list.
I
Okay.
think that's what
Wow.
made the 360 controllers were so nice because you had more room for your fingers to like fully wrap around it,
Mm-hmm.
and so like it felt more natural maybe.
So here's number 4. The DualShock 5.
Oh,
PlayStation
oh,
5,
that looks
yeah.
good.
Yeah. It looks great. It's so it doesn't have the problem where your hands go in too much. It's a chunky
claw.
controller, lot of grab, triggers are good, buttons are good. It's just a great controller. It feels sturdy, feels feels well made. My complaint with this, which I've gotten over now, I play a lot of Dark Souls, okay? So when I play, because I play on controller, I do this thing where I put my finger up here. I have the claw going on
claw.
to dodge. So
How do
I
you-
dodge with my
Wait,
finger
what?
like that.
Why? That's awful.
So that's how I dodge.
There's a
I
lot of
put my
Dark Souls
circle
players
to
that have to
dodge.
do the claw. You're not
Yeah.
alone.
The
I've done
problem
it.
with the
I
claw
still do it.
is the DualShock 5
Awful.
is a little too big. So the claw's slightly uncomfortable. I can do it now. My fingers have learned to stretch. But when I first got this controller, I couldn't do the claw. That's why the number 3 on my list, and I don't have it here, is the DualShock 4. Slightly smaller than this, but it's like an infinitely just very comfortable controller. I mean, super comfortable. It's not too big. It's not too small. Doesn't go out too much. Doesn't go in too much. Buttons are good. All that stuff. Still feels sturdy. All that kind of thing. And the claw is very achievable. The number 2 controller I don't have here,
Aw.
again, is for the Nintendo GameCube. That
Oh,
is the
yeah.
number 2
don't even.
controller.
Okay.
It's
The
a very
GameCube
good.
is one of the
It's a
worst.
good controller. I think it's very comfortable to hold. The only problem with it, and actually this is like, its quirk, is just the button layout is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But that's okay. The C stick is a little uncomfortable to use, but besides that, it just is a nice, good to hold controller. So that's my number 2. My number 1. 100%, not even a question. I know some people go, I don't like this controller because there's no grips on it. Well, I don't care. This is the best.
Oh no.
The Super Nintendo controller. I've used this on my SNES Mini. This is the best controller.
I was afraid you were going to say the 64.
I did too, actually. I was scared.
It fits literally just in my fingers. I don't even need my palms for this thing. It just fits within my
How
fingers.
achievable is the claw?
And dude, I don't need to claw with this thing. That's the deal. I've only got
claw, no
4
raid.
buttons and a D-pad. So simple. Play Link to the Past. super easy. Play Super Metroid, super easy. I can reach everything fine.
That
Buttons
game
are
is
good.
atrocious.
Only got triggers, and the
I agree with
SNES
you, Scott.
is wonderful. So, yeah, this is the #1 controller ever made. But nowadays you couldn't play games on this thing because
No.
you need a lot more buttons.
I
All
love
right.
how we
Obviously.
started with 4 buttons. Sorry, I don't know.
No, you're
3
fine.
if you count the NES because it's the A, B, and you have the D. I'm counting
Mhm.
the D-pad as 1 button.
Okay.
We started
Ah.
with 4 buttons, and now we have
Like 30.
like, I mean, if you're
Well,
on a
nowadays
keyboard,
you have buttons back here too.
yeah.
Not
Oh
on
my
this,
Lord,
but on most
yeah.
controllers, like the Steam Deck and stuff. You got two. You got 2 buttons right here. You got 2 buttons up here.
That's crazy.
You got all these, and then these click.
What a
and you've
headache.
got this, and then you've got this. A lot of buttons.
Yo, in
So
the background.
Fast car.
Scott,
Yeah.
you've just been playing Terraria and stuff.
Yeah, and now I'm getting back into
What a
World of
segue
Warcraft.
from that.
I
So
don't know,
anyways,
I
this
mean,
controller is great. Terraria.
I can't. I've been trying to play a lot of games.
Mhm.
A lot of because there was a good like section. There was a whole month or 2. I don't remember. Time was a blur. Where
it
I
was like
didn't
3
have
months,
any
bro.
like
It was 3 months.
where I didn't have a job.
Oh, I
and so
thought
I
you were
just
talking
played
about.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I picked I picked up Gundam. I did Terraria, Monster Hunter. I started playing Children of Morta, but a couple other roguelites. I tried going through some of the Mega Man games. I mean, there was just like
Mhm.
a lot of things where it was like, okay, I'm bored.
Have you been
I need
playing on
things to do.
your got back on the PS5 train? Because I know you didn't
Oh.
have it for like 3 months. So
Yeah. I got my PlayStation back, and I got back into Spider-Man 2, so I
Okay.
picked back up on that, and then I started playing.
He froze.
No, I've been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which
Okay.
is,
It's
made by the
Borderlands,
Borderland
right?
crew, but it's like a role playing game. Like
Okay.
it's like it's got all the dice, and it's got the Tina from Borderlands is the DM, so she just narrates everything that you run into.
That's
And
funny.
it's quirky.
That's
It's
very
by
funny,
no
yeah.
means a game that I plan on like playing multiple times, but it's fun.
It's a one and done
that's cool.
kind of game.
It's a good romp. Yes, I mean it's Borderlands. So
I tried to
Borderlands.
play Borderlands once. I think I tried to jump into Borderlands 2, and I don't know why. I just couldn't get into it. Even though it seemed like a solid game, I just couldn't get into it for some reason.
I think back in 2020, when we were, the 3 of us and a few other guys were playing D&D every Sunday. There were a few Sundays, Brandon, where you came over early and we played like over the course of a few weeks, maybe like 5 hours of Borderlands. I don't know if it was
Play that
Borderlands
much?
2 or the pre-sequel.
I
But,
think we played the pre-sequel, but we only played
yeah.
it for like an hour.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
we
I
played a
my
few- we
entire
played a
level
few
game for, like,
times,
5
but-
minutes.
We played it a few times over the course of a
Yeah.
few weeks, but Brandon, you were like having a lot of fun, but we're also
Well,
like,
I was having
how
fun
the
'cause I
heck
was
do I
playing
use a
with you.
controller?
Oh yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, because
I
you're
was
so
having fun
used
because I
to
was playing with
mouse
you
and
guys.
keyboard.
Dude, can I change my favorite controller of all time to mouse and keyboard? Because it's just the best.
Sure. boy.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
so comfortable with it, man. Like, it just feels natural because I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, you were born.
I was
with
born with a
and
mouse in
keyboard
my
your
hand,
hands.
actually. Yeah.
And Scott and I were born with PS2
It's just
controllers.
this dead
so-
rodent in your hand.
Oh, it's okay. Come
A
on.
green
Why
flag in
am
one hand, a rodent in the other.
Where'd the green flag come from?
So for me, over the past few months, I honestly, the past few years, do not actually play near as much video games as I used to. It's just because there's always things to do, right? And sometimes I'd much rather just like be with people or watch something than or just go to bed early than play games some nights, right? So what I did back in North Pole because I was working at, a church 6 days a week. Is on my day off, I would clean my house, and then I would make sure like intentionally spent 3 or 4 hours gaming, and so I did I played a lot of Nintendo, a lot of Mario on those days, and nowadays, just because I'm doing a lot generally, my gaming is pretty few and far between, except for maybe a few hours a week where I'll be playing Counter Strike with Brandon and Carter. But besides that, it's there'll be like 2 days a month where I actually sit down and play a game for a few hours. So back in when I first moved here, I bought, as evidenced by this controller. Scott and I never had Xboxes growing up. We only ever played Xbox with friends every once in a while. But I bought an Xbox Series X for content purposes, and to play Halo with my dad, because I've never played it with him and I want to play it with him. Also, the new Indiana Jones game.
Yeah,
I've pre-ordered.
cool.
I'm excited for that.
There's a new Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, it's first person.
It's gonna be super cool. It's taking place between Raiders and Last Crusade.
Oh, that's cool.
Because remember,
Oh, so
Temple of Doom is technically takes place like 2 years before Raiders, timeline wise.
Dude, I love Temple of Doom. It's so good. It's such a good movie.
It's between Raiders and Last Crusade. Yeah, it's super cool. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Yeah, it'll be cool. But I got an Xbox, and so this is kind of what, if I'm just trying to chill for a few hours, I'll play this. So I played some Halo, played Halo Infinite, that kind of thing. But lately, what I did most recently is I have a lot of the old LucasArts Star Wars games on there.
Nice.
And so it wasn't this last week, but the week before, I spent a lot of time just playing old, not the recent Classic Collection port, but the old Xbox console port of Battlefront 2.
That's cool.
It's been just sitting down and doing some instant action and playing through the campaign. So my gaming is pretty sparse right now, but I still love games for sure. Are there any games you guys are looking forward to? It's kind of been a weird year for game releases. I think, I mean, you mentioned game of the year, that idea, Brandon. For all I know, Space Marine 2 could end up being one of those, but you might also have something like Astro's Playroom, and not Astro's Playroom, whatever the new Astrobot game is. That
Wukong game too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that might be one.
That came out.
The Wukong game is the one I want to get. I haven't gotten that yet, but I'm looking forward to that one. And then I think the new Dragon Age is coming out here soon.
I don't know if Dragon Age would have enough time to count for this year's Game Awards, though. It might have to wait
because the
till
Game
next
Awards
year.
are next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if they have the nominees up right now.
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh yeah. I would be
But
shocked.
it's been kind of an off year for it. Last year was so competitive, it feels like, and this year is kind of just we're waiting for games that are going to come out in a few years.
Who do you think gets the labor of love this year?
Oh, there was a Legend of Zelda game. There was Final Fantasy VII. The second part of that came out.
See, I really dislike the fact that Final Fantasy VII could be up there, because why didn't they just release it together instead of in two separate parts? I feel like that's just them
releasing
trying to
it in
squeeze
a
more
third
money out of it.
to.
It's because they're two full games.
Also, yeah, it's like 70 stinking
Are they?
plus hours.
Yeah.
So is it different than Final Fantasy VII? So they're just expanding on the existing story?
Yeah,
with new
yeah.
content?
It's like
So-
10 times more stuff.
So it's
the
not
first-
old content, it's new content.
Yes,
For the
it's new
most part,
content.
yeah.
Okay.
The first
I thought
4
they were
hours.
just remastering more stuff.
No, the first 4 hours of the original game has been turned into like a full, like AAA title, and that's the first game. And then the second game, I think, is because the original Final Fantasy VII had 3 discs, and I don't even think they're done with the first disc.
And the third disc was
Oh.
just a boss fight.
Yeah, it was a big like.
It's like 2 hours. Yeah. So this
There's a lot there.
we don't get nominees till mid-November, but there hasn't been a ton of huge games this year, at least that I remember.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything I was necessarily even looking forward to. One game I have picked up but I haven't played is a Kimbot. That was an indie title.
What?
A Kimbot. It's
is
like
that?
Jack and Daxter meets Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, you see,
so
I
that seems
played
very
like
interesting.
one Ratchet and Clank game ever.
I love them.
They're cool.
Not a
sure.
series I got into.
I think
Yeah,
Nate and I only played one of them.
I played the one on the PS4 too. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just
but
didn't have
we-
access
we
to them.
grew up playing Ratchet 4.
I didn't play Sony really.
Hmm.
It just wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
It's okay. Sly Cooper was the best.
That's another Sony character, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I unfortunately never got to experience Sony really. The best Sony experience I had was the PlayStation Portable. That thing was amazing.
Dude, PSP so
The
good.
PSP was great.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah.
bad they stopped making them.
It was cool. I know
and
what
I-
game is not gonna be game of the year. Concord.
Oh yeah, Concord.
Dude, that's so
Concord?
sad what went on with that game.
Okay, did you not hear about Concord?
No, what is it?
So it was it PlayStation that made it?
It was
Nate?
PlayStation. It was
So
it was an
PlayStation
in-house
spent-
PlayStation game. Yeah.
Yeah, they spent like 8 years making this game. A whole lot of how much money was like $8 million?
Millions and millions.
Millions
No,
of
like
dollars.
80 million or something.
Oh, it was supposed to be like an Overwatch kind of game, like the hero shooter.
But
It
they
was
were
open-
gonna have like an ongoing 400 million.
Oh wow.
$400 million
Dang.
dollars. Yeah, and it
It
was
was-
gonna have an ongoing like story that would progress over every week as you played the game, and
Yeah.
it honestly I saw it during a state of play and was like, I actually am super interested in this. But
Ugh.
It was online for like 16 days before PlayStation closed it.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
it's crazy, man.
So the funny thing is it's still so Amazon has this like anthology series coming out. Brandon, you might know about this because there's a Warhammer episode where they're doing episodes of like different like series.
Oh no, I had no idea.
Yeah, they're doing a Warhammer episode. I know there's a God of War episode. Concord has an episode in that, but the
Oh,
game is
no.
closed. So like, what's that
Oh,
gonna?
man.
I don't remember what it's called. But you could probably look it up on it on like Amazon anthology or like Amazon Warhammer or God of War, and it'll show you a trailer. But it looks kind of cool. Sucks about that Concord thing though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not a big
embarrassing.
hero shooter guy in general, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it just the
actually
little bit
really
I
did
saw
like-
made me like kind of interested.
I played Overwatch once or twice, and it was okay. I think the only hero shooter that I would ever actually play is the Marvel Rivals, which looks kind of
I just-
cool, but it's
I
also just like an
really miss
Overwatch
that
game, and
hero
I don't really care. I don't care about PvP games unless it's like a MOBA. But even then, the only MOBA I care
Well, you
about
liked
is like Smite
Titanfall.
and Titan. Yeah, but I didn't like
but
doing.
you liked that
the-
more for the
the
movement.
PvP. I liked the
story
defense
and
mode.
the
The
defense,
story
yeah.
was cool.
It's interesting because part of why Brandon and I were competitive guys, right? Part of why at least I like Counter-Strike so much is because you all have
I-
the same tools, and it's all about your skill for the most part, right?
The
and
only
all about your
game that
play
I
style.
like playing competitively is Counter Strike. Funny enough.
Yeah. But games like Valorant or Overwatch, where you have these abilities and you have all these different characters and all this meta and stuff, and I'm just not interested in it at all. I've probably played like 20 minutes of Overwatch, and I was like, I don't care. It's just
Yeah.
not for me. But, I would be okay with a game like TF2 because of how simple simple they do the classes. It's not super complicated of a game like Overwatch where you have all these different characters. It's just different classes. But yeah, hero shooters aren't my favorite. But it seems like there's just so many of them nowadays.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm in agreement with you there. Like, I just don't like hero shooters as a
I
whole.
think it's kind of lame. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's also just our opinions, though. I mean, there's so many people who
Yeah.
love those kind of games. It's just
Yeah,
I can't get behind
they
those
do.
because I'm an MMO guy. I like what you're doing, Brandon.
This is great.
Like this is great. This is awesome. I love MMOs. I love
What-
doing dungeons because
Yeah.
I love the team aspect. I love the concept of the tank, the healer, and the DPS. Like that is
I
the
love this
greatest
right here
thing
as
in
well,
the
like-
world for me.
This guy and I are working on the same thing, and we just happen to like be doing the same quest. Hey, you need help? Let's work together and just go
I
through this
know.
castle together. I
Yeah.
love
It's
that.
so
It's so
cool.
good.
For me, as far as shooters are concerned, I either want it to be like. I mean, I'm fine with games like the newer Star Wars Battlefronts, which I guess are class based,
They're pretty cool.
and they're cool, but those are more casual experiences. It's basically Battlefield with the Star Wars skin, so it's a more casual experience.
Yeah.
You can kind of sit back and just do your thing and play with other people, right? But if I'm gonna play a shooter and take it really seriously, I'll take Halo seriously. But Halo's also you're pretty
It's
much
more
all on this.
skill-based.
You're all on the same page.
Yeah.
You pick up abilities in the game. You start with the same weapons. You pick up weapons in the game, right? And Counter Strike is like hardcore, like strategy and tactics and how good are you at shooting. Like it's not. It's all about skill. There's no, and not that those other hero shooters aren't, but you're not having to learn abilities. You're not having to learn characters. You're learning it because
there-
there's much less going on.
All
you
the
can-
extra stuff adds
the
an
skill
element
ceiling
of
is much higher
randomness.
because there's so much more. I mean, you have fewer things to master, and so it seems like there's so much more polish you can get in your game. But besides that, if I'm gonna play a shooter, I don't want to play Overwatch. Give me like a Titanfall 2 campaign. Give me a Halo campaign.
Yeah.
Give me just like a story to chill out and pew my way through, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like one of my favorite shooters of all time is just Modern Warfare 2 because it has an amazing campaign. Like
Are you talking about the original one?
the original, yeah.
Mhm.
The original Modern Warfare 2 campaign is so good. Like, have you guys ever played it?
No.
We'll have Nate. We got to record a video of that. I'll play it. It's so good. The campaign is so patriotic. Uncle Sam will rise from the dead and salute me okay, while I'm playing it. It's so good.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
but
yeah, you've
that
told us about it multiple times,
Yeah.
and it sounds so cool.
old
I
Call
think
of
I've seen
Duty.
you play it.
I might have streamed it for you on Discord.
Yeah.
Old Call of Duty campaigns, specifically the Modern Warfare series, they just told a good story. Without making it like a campy, oh, you're the good guy. No, they added like what I think makes a good story is there's moral ambiguity. They challenge your moral thinking and they make you look at it from a perspective that is like, oh, this actually is like a real issue thing. Yeah, I love that.
I saw like a 5-minute video of someone talking about Battlefield 1. Not the first Battlefield game, but the Battlefield game that was made a few years ago called Battlefield 1, which I think came out after Battlefield 4. It's called Battlefield 1 because it's World War 1. And they were talking about the campaign and why they thought it was so good. And the way it opens is, normally in a Battlefield game or in a shooter campaign in general, you're like the hero and everyone else is just kind of someone to shoot or someone to have run in front of you so you take less damage, right? But the way they open the game is you're in this middle of a firefight and you're surrounded by all these people and it's so hard to see that you can hardly tell who's on your side and who's not. But eventually you'll die, and instead of it just being like, oh, you died and restarting, or oh, you died and ending the level, it it zooms out and shows you a name and a birth date and a death date,
Wow.
and it puts you in another body, and it
They
says,
just rip
okay,
your heart
hold
out.
this position at above all else, and it keeps
That's
doing
crazy.
that until there's just like two guys left, one on each side, and they look around and see everything around them, and they just decide, and they look at this person and see this is another human, and they decide not to shoot each other. And it
Dude,
tells that
that
story of
is
how brutal
awesome.
war is, right?
I would love that. I want to play that now.
Super
description is
interesting.
awesome.
I just saw that and I was like, I want to play that game because that just seems. I mean, as brutal as it is, and World War One and all that.
Yeah.
But it's still.
But that's the kind of narrative I
They're
like.
trying to tell
Like-
like an actual story. They're trying to make you feel something. They're trying to make this game be more than just like nameless, faceless entertainment, right?
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Like if I'm gonna play a game where I'm gonna go shoot people, I don't want it to just be mindless shooty bang bang. Like I want there to be some kind of like hey, it's a human, you know?
Yeah.
I like that like moral questioning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just, if you have a violent video game for violent video game's sake and you're just running around killing people, I feel like that's hollow, and I feel like you're not gaining anything out of it. You're just being violent, and I don't support that necessarily. I don't know. It's weird. I like I like complexity.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to touch on before we close it out here, we've talked about games, talked about books. Any movies, any upcoming films you're looking forward to? Normally we would go
Ooh.
back in Alaska, the three of us go see them, but that obviously can't happen right now. Is there anything that's come out recently that you were excited about, or anything you're looking forward to, or what?
I don't really watch movies. You know this. The only
Mhm.
time I watch movies is when people make me go to the movie theaters with them.
You had
Uh,
fun at Transformers.
I enjoyed it. Yes, I had a lot of fun, and I'll never forget the "Oh my gosh!" That's an inside joke. It's an unfortunate thing, but yeah, no, I just don't watch movies. It's just not what I do.
What about you, Scott?
Yeah, no.
I think it's out on digital now. Transformers One just came out on digital like yesterday, so I'm really excited to see that because I heard it was like
Transformers
one of-
1?
Yeah, it's Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. Although he's
What?
not Optimus yet, it's the
It's
origin
animated.
story of
It's
Optimus
animated,
and
yeah.
Megatron. So it's all Cybertron.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's
they're basically, it's a movie to introduce the next generation of kids to Transformers.
Yeah, and apparently it was probably one of the best movies for Transformers like ever, and I'm so excited to see that because it's Transformers. I love Transformers.
I can't wait
Rise
to
of
hear
the
Optimus
Beast
Prime
was
with
one
an
of my
Australian
favorite
accent.
things. Yeah. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of movies that I'm looking forward to. There's like TV shows or there's like YouTube stuff that I'm excited for, and that's about it.
I think I saw the trailer for the first time today. Well, if you want to talk TV real fast, Strange New Worlds season 3,
Yeah.
excited for that. Love myself some Star Trek. Strange New Worlds. It's the best Star Trek show. Not already. It's already the best, I think.
It's just so good.
It's so good.
That's a lot of people, Brandon.
As far as movies,
That's not what I'm looking at.
I saw the trailer today. I think for the first time. It's coming out in February.
Dude, it was a good trailer.
Since Endgame, I've only seen one Marvel movie, but I'm trying to remember which one it was. I saw Spider-Man, and then I think I saw, I don't know. But
So
the
I
new
have-
Captain America movie that comes out in February actually looks pretty
Yeah.
cool. I know Dad's gonna want to see it, so I'll probably go see it with him. But yeah, I know Marvel's had a period of mediocrity and like pushing out movies constantly that haven't had enough time in
Yeah.
CGI room, right? But in the editing booth. But I think this just looks cool. I like the characters. Harrison Ford's a great actor,
Yep.
so I
Harrison
look forward
Ford
to that
as the Red Hulk.
as the
That's
Red
gonna
Hulk.
be funky.
That actually is perfect because doesn't that match the comics? Like the Red Hulk is an old
Mhm.
dude.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
the general who was
Yeah.
always hunting the Hulk.
Which I think in
Oh,
this
so he's
movie
gonna play
running for
Ross.
president.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's playing Ross.
They recasted
They
Ross
recast him.
with Harrison Ford.
And the explanation they used in the trailer is that's just what he looks like when he shaves off the mustache.
That's hilarious.
He's like, I know it's a different look for me. So that might be good. I obviously am
yeah.
not looking super forward to that. Like I'm not not excited about it, but I think they'll be pretty good. But then besides that, one thing I am absolutely looking forward to that I'm going to see 2 days after my birthday. So I will be 20 years old, and this comes out on July 11th. Is Superman Legacy.
Does it have a
I'm
date?
gonna see that on July 11th, 2 days after my birthday. New
Dude.
Superman movie,
I'm so
new
excited.
DC cinematic universe. It's gonna be super cool. And then besides that, Scott, when does Sonic 3 come out?
Oh, Sonic 3 comes out. It might be next month, or not next month, in December. Actually, that is a movie. Sorry, I had completely
That's
forgot
probably
about that.
one you want to see.
I
right?
love the Sonic movie. Like the Sonic
Really?
movie,
The both of them.
the second Sonic movie was like my movie of the year when it came out. Like
Jim Carrey is
other
awesome.
movie. Oh, he's so good. And he's coming back, and they have Keanu Reeves playing Shadow. That's
Really?
so
Oh wait,
awesome.
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's
Fuck,
voice
I gotta
acting
watch
him.
it
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Dude,
And
I
it
thought
looks
Jim
so
Carrey retired.
good.
Like I
Not for
thought he was
Sonic.
done.
He did. He retired
was-
he retired and then he came back for the second movie. And then he retired again and he's coming
And
back,
came back for the third.
movie.
So he is
He's
Professor
Eggman.
Eggman
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
He's Eggman.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
And I think he's also playing Gerald too, playing
Who's
Eggman's.
Gerald?
Yeah, no, he's
grandfather
playing
or
he's
whatever.
playing Eggman and
Playing both
Eggman's grandpa
characters.
in the movie.
That's funny.
Anything else, guys? Anything you want to cover? Any final thoughts?
Get into the Gaunt's Ghost audiobook series. You guys will like it. It's gritty, but it's good.
It's
If you're
not for
looking for a
kids.
good TV show to watch that is just good, well, it's better than
It's
a lot
good
of shows
because it
nowadays. Is Merlin. It came out in like 2009. It's about Merlin and King Arthur, and it's got like 5 seasons or something. Itana and I just finished watching it, and it's just good. It's a good time.
I forget how much you love King Arthur.
I do, yeah. I mean, he
Like,
was my
he's one
guy
of your
in
favorite.
Smite. Yeah,
He's one of your favorite dudes ever.
yeah.
Um,
If you weren't playing Mage so much in Smite, I would probably switch to Merlin. But honestly,
Scott,
I was a
would
lot
let
better
you.
at the solo lane, so I liked doing King Arthur, and I could solo in right lane with
but
Merlin
Scott,
if
we
I
can
wanted
both
to.
mage, and I'll just jungle.
That's true.
I literally played jungle mages too.
Yeah.
Well, that's great because I was usually the jungler because no one else did it except for me, and because Brandon, you always left tanking. Or something.
hey,
or
Smite
being
too,
I was
melee,
never a
so.
tank.
That's a
You're thinking
thing.
You used to
Harder.
play Batches.
I didn't like playing Batches. I played him because he was the only tank I knew.
Yeah, because everyone
Do
else
you-
played a mid laner or a left laner.
I usually played mage if I could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you did a
thought,
lot of
yeah.
Ao Kwang.
Ao
A
Kwang
lot
was
of
my
Ao
jungle.
Kwang, a lot
He
of
was my jungle
Raw.
pick. Raw and
and
Kukulkan
Kukulkan.
were my mid lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kukulkan Khan was your
Ao
man.
Kwang is my jungler mage, which unpopular pick I learned. I learned that is not meta at all.
That's okay.
But burst damage.
Dude, I'm sure meta is totally different though. We haven't played the game in like 2 years, so.
Well, yeah, because they're doing
I'm
Smite
sure
2
it's
right
changed.
now.
Yeah.
And they're going through all of the alpha, like
Oh, I
testing.
didn't get all the quests.
So that's a thing.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Street Fighter Alpha. All right. Well, we'll call it there. Thanks for watching. See ya when we see ya.
You can't see me though.